And that's kind of what happened with this last album. We were inspired by some of the black metal, the death metal, and all that music, and we just completely mixed it all in with what we were already doing. And that's kind of what we got with Destruction Is All We Know. Even though we're a thrash hardcore band, we get death in there too.
What's up, everybody? It's Keefy at GhostCultMag.com. It's time for another interview, and today I am joined by Tony from Almost Dead from the Bay Area. How are you doing?
All right, man. How you doing, Keith?
I'm great. I think that's accurate, right? Bay Area is it general enough?
Yeah, I think so. What are you gonna do?
I've seen a couple of concerts where the out of town funny frontman was trying to say like, "What's up, Berkeley?" and people are like, "Boo." Or
Yeah.
the same thing in Sacramento is like, "Is it okay to say San Francisco?" No, it's not. It's not Keith Morris, even if you are one of the most legendary people ever in punk rock. He definitely got like some shit. He's like, "I'm old. What do you want from me? I don't
Right.
even know what day it is."
Oh, my God.
But yeah, man, congratulations. Destruction Is All We Know is the new album out now. So many fun and killer things happening for the band. We got to premiere the album, which I was really stoked about. So shout out to your publicist and everybody for touching base with me, and you guys did a really nice job. Seemed like a very mutually good thing. I know there's a lot of conjecture right now about what we do, music criticism. There's a lot of people just out there, like everybody's a critic. I'm angry on Reddit about
Right.
stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of debate. I talk about this sometimes in some of my other interviews, whether we matter. Reviews, do they matter? Do premieres matter anymore? Do websites matter? Or are we passe and people just go to whatever they stream music and they don't care? But I feel like especially metal fans care. And I still get people tell us all the time, "I didn't know this band had an album coming out." Oh, it's been out for 3 months. Where you been? I just shared the news that Helmet is going on tour with Cro-Mags. They put out a record 3 months ago. People are like, "Are they still around?" They just put a new record out on a pretty big record label. Like, how did you not know? Because there's so much stuff coming at us we don't know.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think the reviews do mean a lot. It's kind of hard to read sometimes, but with this last release, it's all been going good so far, so that's good.
And
Sometimes you
yeah,
just
I
want
don't.
to, strangle the person and be like, "Hey, you
Well,
didn't you didn't write it. Like, relax."
you're gonna get some bad reviews. You're gonna get some
Right.
reviews
Right.
that maybe you are personally rankled by, even if it's a good review. I've seen stuff. There's a very popular black metal record that just came out, like one of the early year big deal records, and our guy re-edit for clarity and grammar, but I don't really go in and change anybody's stuff.
Right.
That's our policy. I'm not the ultimate reviews editor. I have a partner in the UK that handles all that. He used to be a magazine guy. I was a magazine guy, but we don't change. I usually let my writers write, like you would let a producer want you to play your music, and he's not gonna mess with you too much unless he hears something that's not fresh. And
Right.
so the label kind of took a swipe at us on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and I was like, interesting take. We review everything that label puts out. We love most of their stuff, like 95% of everything they do. It's always a banger. And this one record just didn't resonate with my one writer, and they were pissed. It wasn't even a bad review. It was just like a little nitpicky, maybe. But I was
Right.
surprised that the label went after us. I was like, that's a strange decision from a. We're partners. We cover your stuff. You put us into shows for us to go cover. So I was like, that's weird. But I do see like a lot of clapping back. There are a lot of shitty reviewers out there. We're not, but I see a lot of bad reviewers.
Right.
I see a lot of hot takes. This band sucks. It's like, well, maybe they're not for you. Do you hate black metal and death metal, and then you're reviewing a lot of black metal and death metal reviews for the clicks or for the clout or whatever, and then you don't like that style? Some people also love the hostile, angry reviews. Like, I think there's a fan base. I think in everything, Rotten Tomatoes, right, for films, people
Right.
they love
Right.
to hate shit. They really do. So it seems like everything's been really positive for you all, and I would echo that sentiment. It's a really strong record.
Right on. Thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Yeah, it was an interesting record. We just came off Brutal Onslaught. Zach joined the band with me in early 2018, and he joined after we already had written the "Lay Me Down to Waste" album, and we kind of got him on there, and he wrote a few leads for that album and got on there. But then after that, the band kind of went on hiatus, and members moved out of state. And then it was kind of just me and Zach left, and we're like, okay, is this it, or are we gonna try to rebuild this and see if we can go a different route, you know? So we ended up just writing and putting out ads, trying to find members, and we only wanted people that could tour. You know, my previous members in the band, we did a lot of writing, but it was hard for everybody with families to get out and go on the road and all that type of shit. So I just made it mandatory. If you can tour and you can play and you're cool as fuck, let's write, let's go, let's get out on the road. So after a while, we came across Ryan Glick, who joined with us, and he's been playing drums with us for over 7 years now. And then we came across Felix for a tour we were gonna do 2 years ago, and he's been with us ever since. And man, we just kind of hit it off. The Brutal Onslaught was just more me, Zach, and Ryan tying in trying to figure out which direction we want to go with the music. And I think if you heard that album, you could kind of see, you know, we were going a bunch of different directions with that one. And then with this one, it was more of a, okay, this is what you like, this is what I like. Boom, you know, like a lot of less headbutting, I would say, and more of understanding of what we needed to do. And it was cool. I gave him his freedom. He gave me my freedom. Ryan freaking crushed it on this album, and Felix too. I don't know. I'm excited about it. I'm still excited about it. It's very fairly new. We just released it on the 26th of January, so we're still pumped up about it. Even though
Well,
you feel like you've been holding on to the music for
oh yeah, it's a
years.
secret.
Yeah,
It's a secret to y'all for a while before anyone else hears it, and then
right.
when the record drops, when it hits streaming, it's tough though. Like you've had a band for 10, almost 15 years almost, back to the first release, and obviously it's hard to keep a lineup together. It's hard to keep people,
Right.
like you said, families are a big pull, and it's just tough. Like the band life is tough. You got to really love it. Like I say, nobody can really do this life unless they absolutely
Right.
what they demand of themselves. And there's a sort of an honesty there, and also the friendship chemistry is important because you got to live with that person, be in the studio with that person, go on the road hopefully with that person.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's definitely got to be that family friendly bond. If not, then it's not worth it, you know. I started this band in 2002 with a bunch of my buddies from high school, and we one night set up a little. We're like, hey, let's play a Halloween thing on our front porch, you know. So we go out there and do a bunch of covers and shit, and then just our parents showed up and they're like, man, you guys should keep this rolling. So we started writing originals, and we wrote originals, ended up in a few studios before we got to Trident Studios in '07 when we finally recorded the first album. So there was a lot of dinkering and figuring out what the hell we want to do. But yeah, it was all fun, man. It was all fun and games. And then the shows, man, is just where the adrenaline hits you and you just want to, explode. And I think that's one of the main things about us is like, yeah, the albums are cool and everything. Listening to the music's great, but if you see us live, you're gonna experience the anger that's in the music, you know. And that's what I love about this shit. You know, it's kind of like my therapy to get on stage and just scream and let it all out. That's what I love about it.
That's amazing. I love to hear that. Also, my very first band show ever was on somebody's front porch playing a bunch of covers and a couple of originals. And that's like, nice. I think everybody's story. Although I was back east, I wasn't here at the time. But yeah, that's killer. You guys are great live too. So I look forward to hearing some of this new material live mixed in with the last few albums worth of stuff. I imagine you're so jazzed on this new record. I can't imagine you want to play any of it would go over, I think, pretty well live. It's pretty consistent.
Right on. Thanks, man. Yeah, we're mainly focusing on the new stuff right now. Finally we got new shit, you know, so it's like we can't stop playing the old stuff, but everyone loves the old stuff too, so if we need to throw it in there, we will, you know.
It's a good problem to have if you have a song you can't take out of the set list because people will riot if you take that song out. But everybody gets there. You know, you see that all the time. It's like, oh, I went to the show and so they didn't play this. And it's like, well, how many albums do they have? How many songs do they have? Do they have a brand new album out? And also, where are they? Is it your headline show where you could play like 45 minutes an hour? Or are you the opening band? Are you the fourth opening band out of 4? So, you know, it's hard. I appreciate that a lot. Just just out of curiosity, from the last record to now, and obviously, like you said, new members, a little more unilateral writing, it sounds like to me, a little more democratic process in the song craft. But have you changed any of your gear or any of your approaches to playing or writing or even screaming in the meantime between records that have like influenced this record a little bit more?
Yeah, so when Zach actually joined the band, we were just old school. We were guys in a room jamming, and that's how we wrote. You know, you would be jamming in there, and I'd be like, okay, take this riff, put it here. Okay, drum beat, use this, boom, boom, boom. And I created music like just listening in a room. And then after Nick left, and it was just me and Zach, Zach started writing with like Guitar Pro and stuff like that. He'd write it all out and then show me on a laptop. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, all right. You know, he'd have all these songs on laptop. So then I'd be going over a laptop with him and we'd be structuring songs that way. And it was a good experience the first time. And that was basically with Brutal Onslaught. We're trying to figure out how to write that way. But then we incorporated Ableton Live. We have that now. So we have all the backing tracks, the synths, and all that stuff. So every show, the guys have their in-ears with clicks and all that type of stuff. I'm still old school, so I don't use that stuff, but I'm hoping down the road, once a little more expensive board, we can maybe tie in some more of that stuff so I can have maybe an in-ear with certain stuff, because I think right now we just have like a similar pattern where everyone's hearing the same stuff, but it works, man. It works live, and it makes it a lot tighter. And the band's a lot more in sync. Back then, we'd go crazy, and we'd think we were in time, and then you watch the video and be like, oh shit, Jesus. What would it have been like if we had the backing track back then, with the click and all that shit. But yeah, I think it helps. A lot of people around here are starting to pick up with that. So
Yeah, I've never understood the clap back against backing tracks or playing to a click. First of all, playing to a click makes a drummer better in most cases, especially from venue to venue, stage to stage, PA to PA. It varies so much. You have no real way of knowing from night to night what you're going to get. So you want to control your environment as much as possible. And I've seen you live, so I know you guys can play. I've seen you play your instruments. I know it's you vocally, and I'm not averse to some good backing tracks or to build out like an orchestration or some sequences and stuff. That's all good. I don't think you're over relying on that stuff. Just personally, from the one show I saw, I have seen bands over the years who can't play their instruments, who are literally miming riffs while the riffs are actually happening, and you watch their hands and they're not doing stuff. There's a band that I like to call Blank Plays to Tapes as a dig. I don't do it a lot. I don't do saucy takes, but sometimes you have to. And I have seen other bands who aren't playing anything. They're just kind of like, word, yes, okay, cool. And they're not really doing shit. And it's like, I hate to say, I don't want to single out deathcore, but deathcore bands, a lot of you are very talented, and some of you are just like, mimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not really doing justice. And that's not fair to the fans. And it's not fair to you. Learn to play your stuff, guys. Not you. Everybody else.
Right. Mainly with us, it's more just like intro. Like we wrote Zach wrote some keyboard stuff for the opening of Warheads in the Sky, and little stuff like that, like intros and little outros. That's pretty much all it. Or some voiceovers. Like we have some voiceovers in Agent of Chaos and stuff like that throughout the show. Just kind of gives it a little more. But nothing like that, like drum beats or, stuff like that. So
no, plus not to mention, again, you definitely get caught out there. There's enough people that know me. Like 30 years ago, there wasn't that many of us in the world who knew how to play music. Now everybody has at least tried to play some music, and a lot of fans are very knowledgeable and know what to look for, because we have nothing but time and the internet to waste our time with. And,
I have no vocals on there whatsoever. So
of course,
those are all me.
Yeah, of course. Out of curiosity, are you personally from the Bay Area originally, and the rest of the guys? Or
I was born in Concord. So I'm from the East Bay Area. Live in Martinez. That's where we jam every week. Ryan's from Antioch. Born and raised in Antioch. Felix is from San Francisco. I'm not sure if he was born there, but I think he was. And then Zach's from Chicago. and he lives in Berkeley with his girlfriend. So yeah, we're all in the Bay Area now. So we're
Nice.
all over the place here.
Nice. I asked because I feel like this is such a really, a special time. We have like some of our legendary bands are still killing it with new material and playing live and stuff. And also there's a wave of new bands like a neo American Bay Area thrash, death metal, deathcore, hardcore. Just such a good, even the punk rock scene is such a good scene from San Jose all the way up into the redwoods, man. It's wild. And
Right.
I feel like I feel very lucky that I moved here at a time where all this stuff is happening, and you could go out any night of the week and see a great show. Who are some of your favorite bands you played with that are peers of yours that you like a lot?
From the local scene, man, there's so many good bands. It's freaking awesome. Phantom Witch came out, and they jammed with us for a vinyl release, which was so freaking sick. I just hit them up. I'm like, guys, we got a vinyl release. You want to play? They're like, fuck yeah, So you gotta, and man, they put on a fucking killer show. Those guys are monsters. Phantom Witch, Hatred. We played with them a few times. They're freaking monsters. They're doing things right now. They're shooting up there. War Corpse is a good band. Cultural Warfare, love those guys. Play a million shows with them. There's so many good bands, man. They're all over. I can keep going here. Unprovoked, they're from SAC. Freaking love those guys. They just had a band, La Cabra, come through from Seattle. We were jamming with them. That was a sweet show out there in SAC. So we're all over the place, man. You gotta love the local scene. That's all I gotta say. Captive State, that was our old bass player Logan. He's in that band. They're fucking monsters. They're killing shit right now. It's a good underground scene right now. There's shows every night I want to go to. I'm just like, get me out there.
I'm a little older than you, so I'm starting to get to the point where there's two bands. I'm a lot happier than 5 or 6, but that's
Right,
just
right.
that's just
I'm
me.
more of a I'm more of a four-band guy.
Yeah, four is the right amount. Three's really good.
Right.
Two is if you get two really great bands and they just knock it out professionally and just one after the other on a weeknight, especially, it's perfect.
Right. Right.
Just out of curiosity, obviously there's no way to grow up here and not be influenced by this scene. I feel like the whole world is always looking at this area. But if there was a legendary band that you think is underrated from the Bay Area, so the veteran bands we all respect and love, but you think they're underrated, who might that be?
Oh man, that's a hard question. Man, I don't even know if I have an answer for that.
They all rule. That's what he's gonna say.
Right. Yeah.
They do kind of all rule. There's a plethora of bands. I was like that when I back home. I was like, who can fuck with our scene? A lot of people. But you get that chip on your shoulder about your hometown, and you get a little bit of conceit. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot too bad. Believe me, I've asked put people on the spot all week with different questions, so it's okay. Maybe I'm asking too many hard questions. One awesome thing you do have on top of this brand new record is you have an amazing tour coming up, and I want you to talk a little bit about that because it's crazy.
Oh my God, I'm so fucking stoked. So yeah, in 2021, we signed with a label called Arcade Records out of Spain, and they hooked us up with a tour actually with Batushka, Belfagor, Diabolical, and Warhammer. So we went out there for a month-long tour out in Europe already in 2021, and this was like right when COVID was hitting and all that crap. We were actually one of the only tours that made it through that. But we were on that tour and met a lot of cool people, cool bands, man. And then we got back, and then we were going to jump on another tour, and it was actually with Atheist we got on with. But then the day we're jumping on that flight, something happened with Atheist, and the whole tour got set back. So we were already under contract with them, with Flaming Arts for that one. So now they bumped it up, and I'm glad whatever happened, it paused, and whatever happened, because now it's just like we got Cryptopsy in there, we got Atheist, us, 72 Legions join, and then we got Monastery join. It's a sick lineup. It's gonna be a fun run, man. I'm fucking stoked for that. But yeah, it's crazy. I'm still getting ready for it. We got like 10, 11 days till we leave. I'm like, let's go, getting the merch ready. All right, who do I send this to? Oh, man, so we're all over the place right now. But
get all the last
cracking our
minute
asses off
things
getting ready for this shit. So
right on. Cryptopsy just put out one of the best records of last year. I saw Atheist last year with Suffocation at DNA right by my house, which was also I love literally stumbling out of my house to a show. That's the benefit of living here. But yeah,
right.
man, what a killer lineup, and I think your band will go very well in that lineup. It'll be a nice, a nice opener or one of the openers for that tour. It's a good
Right,
mix
we're
of bands.
excited. Zach, in my band. Anyways, to get back to that first tour we went on, being on tour with bands like Batushka, Belfagor, you get like some inspiration, you know. So like, we're one of those bands where like I love thrash, I love what we're doing, but like we're not afraid to push ourselves in any direction. So with that, Zach was just getting inspired by those guys, and then when we got back, or even while we're on the tour, we're writing riffs, he's writing riffs. I'm hearing shit, and we're just kind of, and that's kind of what happened with this last album. We were inspired by so many of the some of the black metal, the death metal, and all that music, and we just completely mixed it all in with what we were already doing, and that's kind of what we got with Destruction Is All We Know. You know, that's like the perfect thing to sum it up. And I feel we have a lot more to offer for tying in with this tour coming up with this album, and I'm just so stoked, man. It's like I think it's gonna be a perfect fit, you know. Even though we're a thrash hardcore band, we get death in there too, and I can't wait to show these guys, you know.
Word. I'm also a big Belfagor fan. One of the best live bands I have ever seen ever in the whole
Right.
world, in my whole life. They're so good live,
So
and
good.
their shows are just nuts because there's really no letting up. They just go. They just go hard.
Serpent makes his own hot sauce, and I bought about five bottles of those fucking things. And then I'm coming across the airport, and they fucking take them from me. They took them. Yeah, I was pissed, man.
That sucks. That's a bummer. I made that mistake once too.
So
Um,
Serpent, if you're watching, I need some more hot sauce. Send it my way.
Word. Maybe
Yeah.
you can mail it back with your if you don't leave if you don't sell all your merch and you ship it back to yourself. Maybe you can.
Right. Yeah. Don't take it in your carry-on, whatever you do.
No, they will definitely search you and stop you, especially international because
Right.
we probably they think we're criminals. What do you need to take with you? So you've done a few tours, you've been overseas.
Right.
What's like the most essential stuff you just personally need to have for a successful tour?
Yeah, so I keep it pretty simple. I just went on Amazon. Boom, it's pretty cold over there. So four pairs of sweatpants, 12 pairs of underwear, 12 pairs of socks, black shirts all day. And luckily we have our merchandise getting shipped over there. So we have all that in case we run out of clothes. But yeah, new pair of shoes. There we go. Boom, ready to go.
It's like Fight Club. All you need is a bedroll and $300 of personal burial money.
Right. You want to
Uh,
be, we like to limit ourselves because you don't want to pack too much, man. Because the way backs, you're loaded up with shit anyways. You're there for a month, so you want to keep it as small and light as possible.
what's the just out of curiosity the best and worst food you've had on the road before? Could be the States, could be elsewhere.
Oh man. Um, last time it was pretty brutal because I had to do all the driving. A lot of the driving in between the shows end at 2 a.m. and you're driving till 5 a.m., 6 a.m. until you get tired and then you're pulling over, sleeping on the side of the road. So a lot of gas stations stop food. A lot of those little rollers with the meat in it. You don't know what the meat is, but you're just trying to get something in you to get to the next menu. So yeah, probably the gas station food is probably the worst for me. Um, Best food? Oh man, we had a meal in Prague. We were in Prague, and I sat down with maybe three of the bands, and we ate like kings, and filet mignons and beer and you name it. And by the end of the night, it was like an $80 tab. I'm like, holy crap! I want to move to Prague.
Czech Republic is supposed to be inexpensive, so that's the
It's
word.
amazing.
Eastern Europe's a lot cheaper than Western Europe, that's for sure, without
Right,
the
right,
escalating taxes.
right.
And a taquito will either kill you like tequila, or to save your life potentially. So best of luck there. Yeah, man. Very excited for you. And then when you get back off this tour, which is coming up really quick, do you have anything planned you can announce yet here for the States, or even some local stuff?
Nothing quite yet. We're talking to a few venues, trying to set up a few things, but we have some little tours getting set up too and talked about as well. We're actually talking to some agencies as well in the meantime, but mainly just finishing up a couple more music videos for this album. We got a shitload of lyric videos we're dropping. I've been busy and just going full force on all the video stuff. So every 2 weeks we're gonna have something drop for this album. And yeah, man, I'm just focusing on the tour at the moment. Get this one taken care of, and then we'll see what's next.
All right, good to know. We'll keep an eye out for all that stuff. Super cool to connect with you, man. Thank you so much for sharing your story with Ghost Cult. And I wish you the best. Be safe on the road.
Dude, hell
And
yeah.
best of luck with everything. And get back safe, and we'll see you when you get back.
Right on, Keith. Thanks, man.